Hello, welcome to a new ranking video by me, but this time it's not about Dark Souls, so I don't know how well this will perform, but it's about one of my favorite games of all time, being Donkey Kong Country 2. And the fall season, the Thanksgiving season, the winter season has always reminded me of Donkey Kong Country 2, because that's when I would play it. So I figured why not rank the worlds in Donkey Kong Country 2 from worst to best. Of course, this is just my opinion. If you have any differing opinions, I'd love to hear them. If you have any problems, you can tell me. I guess I don't really care. But we're gonna move on. So let's start the ranking. Coming in at the number 8 spot, we have the Flying Croc. There really isn't much to talk about this world. There's only 2 levels, and one of the levels is the final K. Rool fight, which is a wonderful fight where he uses his infamous cannon gun that appears in Smash, which obviously originally appeared in this game. Aside from that, there is only one other level, and it is Screech's Sprint. Screech's Sprint is a Squawks level in one of those Bramble theme levels, which are the levels with some of the most beautiful music composed in any video game. But aside from that, there really isn't much. Screech's Sprint just basically involves you sprinting against a evil Squawks called Screech, and that's it. You gotta reach the finish line before he does, and if you do that, the level is over. Not much to talk about. This is why it's last place. Good world, just not really much quality. I mean quantity. Coming in at number 7, we have Quay. Quay. Pretty sure I'm saying that right. I want to clarify that just because a world is near the bottom doesn't mean it's bad. All the worlds in this game are great. It's just personal preference, really. I mean, that's pretty much every ranking video. It's personal preference and opinion. But anyway, let's get into the world itself. The world is very swamp-based. It's literally a swamp. First of all, I want to point out the map details. Map details in this game are absolutely fantastic. They put a ton of details into the overworld, and I really admire that. It adds a lot of charm, which is one of the things that I really enjoy about this game. The broken down ships, the ship that is broken in one half and you can visit each half, and each half hosts different levels, is a really awesome idea. I love it, man. But the levels themselves are pretty good. They're pretty fine. I mean, you have the Cudgel fight, which is alright, not my favorite boss fight. You have Bramble Blast, which it's an okay one. It's probably the worst one out of the Bramble levels. You have Slime Climb, which is a really cool one, where you have this water, which is slime, I believe. I mean, it is called Slime Climb, and you gotta escape it. It basically just keeps rising. It's like lava. If you step in it, you die. You have Crockhead Clamber, which is just kind of basic. You have Glimmer's Galleon, where you use this lanternfish to navigate a sunken ship. And you have Rattle Battle, where you use Rattly to kill a bunch of, well, cribs. And that's pretty much it. The levels are pretty alright. It's just, I wouldn't say this is my favorite world. It all really just comes down to what I enjoy more in each world, and in this case, the levels are pretty good. None of them are bad, none of them are outstanding either. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6, The Lost Worlds. Listen, The Lost Worlds has some pretty good levels, but if I'm being honest, I haven't really finished them. I'll be frank, I'm not the best at this game. When it comes to the main game, I am an absolute beast. I could speedrun this game with relative ease, I think, and I might try it for a future video. But the Lost Worlds, I just don't have enough experience in to really get through all of it, but the levels I played were really good. That's why I'm ranking it a little bit above these two, because I haven't finished it, so I think it's only fair to at least rank it a little bit higher than the other two, which, I don't know, you tell me what you think about it. I think the levels are really cool. The jungle level, where you have to jump on all these tires that are moving and stuff, really awesome. That is the main one that I remember. All the other ones, like the lava one, are okay, and there is a secret K. Rool boss fight, which I have watched the fight for, but never fought myself. But overall, pretty good. Moving on to number 7. 5. Coming in at number 5, we have Gangplank Galleon. Listen, Gangplank Galleon, for being a first world, is an absolute beast. Yes, it's number 5, so it's not even breaking the top 4, but that doesn't mean it's not really good. It has some amazing beginner levels, and the Jib Jig that plays on most of these stages is such a banger, man. One thing I want to mention is the music in this game. They always have these little details added to them that makes them so good. David Wise is just a wonderful composer, and my favorite thing about Jib Jig is the little ambient noise at the beginning, and it sounds so natural too, and it's just so catchy. It's really an earworm. But on to the levels themselves. Pirate Panic, pretty standard beginner level. It doesn't really do much. It introduces you to Rambi. Main Brace Mayhem, you gotta climb these ropes and stuff. And I loved these levels in Donkey Kong Country 2 where you gotta like climb these ropes. There's more like them later, but with different level themes and whatnot. Gangplank Galley is well, it's kind of like the better version of the first level. It just has more stuff. Lockjaw's Locker, water level, not a big fan. Top Seal Trouble introduces you to Ratley, the snake guy, and he's really bouncy, and you gotta just bounce through most of the stage, cross some ropes, and that's pretty much it. Number 4, we've got Crocodile Cauldron, and let me tell you, it is pretty fun. Hothead Hop should be named Hothead Bop because the song is amazing. Cannon's Claim introduces us to the amazing, absolutely beautiful crystal levels. Red Hot Ride is a level that makes you ride air balloons across the perilous lava below, and Squawk Shaft introduces you to Squawks, probably my favorite animal buddy from this game. Like he's a parrot that spits eggs. What's not to love? And you also have an amazing boss to top it off. Very simple boss. Cleaver is not anything special, but he's really fun, and he is probably one of my favorite bosses from this game. Overall, there's not too much to say about this. This is where the levels start to get really good, and the worlds are just really aesthetically pleasing. I really like how they did the lava here. The backgrounds are really pretty, as always in these games. God, the art design in these games are just... wow, it's absolutely unparalleled. I swear, you could release this game today and people think it looks amazing. Anyway, we're going to move on to number 3 because I pretty much said all there is. Really good world, really unique level structure, really unique level designs. Let's move on. Krules Keep is one of, if not the best themed levels in any game I've ever played. It is number 3, so it's not my favorite by any means, but it has some wonderful themes. It has these dungeon themed levels, it has an ice themed level. Every level is not the same in this world. It kind of takes every level that you played in previous levels, like all the themes, and they scatter it throughout. You have a mining level, which has this really unique gimmick where there's wind that can either take you up or push you down a little bit. It just makes you float. You have Slime Climb, which is kind of the same as that one level in the third world, just way more difficult. I remember being stuck on this level for hours and hours when I first played this game as a kid. And you have the other dungeon levels, like the one where you have to climb up the chains to avoid singers and stuff. You have the one with the rising floor and stuff like that. Overall, the level has some really unique gimmicks, and that is why it's in third place. It has some really cool levels. It has some really cool design. I love it. Really good. Overall, very amazing world. So let's move on to number 2. Crazy Crimled, pretty much solely because of the unique gimmick that I haven't seen in any other game. The theme of this level is a carnival. Yeah, and it's executed pretty alright. I'll be honest, some of the carnival levels, they have a little bit of wasted potential, but you may be asking, why is it number 2? well, the levels are really fun, and the carnival themed levels are still pretty fun, even though I think there was a lot of wasted potential here. All of the carnival levels are just minecart levels, which are really cool, and they're still really fun, not bad levels at all, but I do wish we would have maybe been able to explore the carnival itself down there. It just looks so fun and it looks so beautiful. And I really wish they would have made one level where you explore the carnival itself. I feel like that was a huge missed opportunity, and I hope the devs maybe thought of that at least once, but I don't know why you would scrap such a good idea. Maybe hardware difficulties or whatever at the time, restrictions. But there's some other levels, like this introduces you to the honey hive levels, which are pretty unique and aesthetically pleasing to look at. And you have a couple of other swamp levels. If it wasn't for the whole carnival theme, this world wouldn't really be that great. It's on my second spot, and that's really solely because of the theme. The levels themselves are really good, and you have your first actual real bramble level where it's not just shooting through barrels. So, if, on second thought, there's not a ton of great levels. I know I just said there were great levels, but my brain's a little bit frazzled right now. But the levels are pretty alright, and the theme really saves it, and it's the number 2 spot, but headed on to number 1. Number 1 is Gloomy Gulch. This has always been my favorite one since I was a kid. Now, I've always been in love with the fall season. I love the whole aesthetic of it. I love the weather. I love just the whole theme of fall. And having a gloomy forest, which represents, a spooky season, October, what's not to love about it? It has some of the most wonderful levels, the ghostly grove levels with the amazing music that is probably playing in the video right now. It's absolutely enchanting and just beautiful to look at. There's so many little details like sunlight shining through the trees in the background and stuff like that. It really pushes the Super Nintendo's software, and you have that one level where the ghost is chasing you and you gotta collect like more seconds, otherwise he's gonna kill you. Levels like that are really cool, and the boss at the end of this world is also really cool. It's that bird from the first world, but he's a ghost, and it makes the fight actually pretty difficult. And I think aside from K. Rool, this is the most difficult boss fight in the entire game. Which I might do a Donkey Kong Country 2 boss ranking, I don't know. But I'm going to talk about the world a little bit more. You also have this Squitter level, which Squitter is the little spider guy. This level caused me a ton of pain as a kid, and it's still pretty difficult now. And you have a honey hive level. A big thing about this world and Donkey Kong Country that I like is levels never really stay the same. They're always changing. Nothing is repetitive. They basically put one of their ideas to its fullest potential in every one of their stages, and I feel like it's really prevalent with this world. This world has some amazing levels. It's my favorite because of its theme. It has some of my favorite levels like the ghosts and the haunted woods. It's great. I really don't have anything else to say, but if you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I thank you. I just wanted to kind of branch out from my Dark Souls stuff a little bit, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.